Let me just uh, give some context to this story I'm about to tell. Right. So yesterday I was about to make a video saying how talking about how it's really sad that Singaporeans live in are born in boxes, live in boxes, die in boxes, and the cycle repeats over and over again. Um, and the reason I was talking about that was because, well, there was this line that my social studies teacher at the time I forgot who it was exactly, uh, Miss Ng or Madam Shanaz or whoever, right? Mrs. Go, whoever. Um, they they were saying how they were teaching a lesson on funerals in Singapore, and well, they came to a part where I'm guessing I didn't really pay attention to the actual funeral part, but in the in one of the parts they said like sometimes when after people die they get cremated, and their ashes sometimes are stored behind temples, and the temples they have this like little grid shelf, and they charge people, their families, every year to store the ashes there. And then she made a joke saying how, oh, isn't it funny how us Singaporeans we live in boxes like as in HDBs, these apartment complexes, public housing, and we die in boxes. When we die, we still live in boxes, right? And I mean, it was supposed to be a funny joke, but I mean, it just never really left me because think about it, right? It's kind of sad in a way. Imagine living your life and in the end, you live your whole life in the HDB, and in the end, when you die, you still, you know, everything in your life is almost predetermined, right? And I was about to complain about that, saying how Singapore is such a terrible socialist place. Okay, not really, that's just exaggerating, but I was talking about how you should probably, people should give more of a thought on how they want to live their life, and shouldn't and the Singapore government is almost in a way heavily promoting or even almost in a way forcing their citizens to live a very mediocre employee-esque good like a robot-esque like a cog in a machine-esque life, right? So after you get worn out you get replaced and you live your life as this uh, robot in society to help it grow, to help the it's almost like running like a business, right? The country, so all your employees in Singapore almost. And I was complaining about that, and I was like, this isn't quite right because why? Because if someone really and halfway through I was like, this isn't quite right, so I had to rephrase myself because if someone really wanted to live their life normally, a so-called sensible, risk-free life, right? That's fine. Also, wow, that is disgusting. How did I not see that? I've been touching that with my bare hands. The amount of earwax on this thing is insane. Holy crap. I'm gonna have to wash my hands after this. Jesus. Yeah, wow. Okay. So yeah. How I mean people would love to hold on, give me a sec. Would love to live that life, right? Some people will give anything to have a secure, safe life. But people should also get to choose and shouldn't be forced on them with propaganda that we should all live this normal life, right? And I realized a large part of it why I dislike it is because it's just me. I'm not the type of person to stay in one place, right? To be sedentary, to be told what to do, to follow everything that's told, to be normal, so-called normal. I would like to live my life my way, you could say, right? And so it's, I guess it's more of a personal thing than than like an actual societal issue, because you look at places like America, right? Some people, I guess, I'm guessing a lot of people who live there would love to have a system like Singapore, right? Something where a place where the government controls a large part of your life in a good way and tells you what to do, and you just follow, and you know what, your life is fine. But in America, the culture there is more of entrepreneurship, being your own man kind of culture, right? In Singapore, it's more of you live your life the way government tells you to. And there's nothing, and I didn't make that video because I realized that my complaints are, because are just my complaints. They don't relate to anyone else, and there's really nothing wrong with living your life you want to live. You know what? Because Singapore, if you don't like Singapore, leave, right? I keep saying that about people in America, the leftists, right? If you don't like the way the culture that America has been built on, leave. Uh, Especially the immigrants, right? Why'd you come here if you don't like the culture here, right? Or in America's context. But then I saw this TikTok not TikTok, Instagram reel today, close enough. They were saying that you have to choose. I'll put it up here, but
You have to choose between an ordinary life that makes sense and an extraordinary life that makes you excited. You could settle down, live as you are, or you could hunt down the highest version of yourself. Neither is right or wrong, but it's a choice you have to make.
And I was like, yeah, that really sums up my thoughts from yesterday. Neither of these options are right or wrong, right? It's fine if you want to be a normal person. Of course, I feel that you shouldn't, because you were given this life. If you're just gonna be normal, isn't that kind of sad, If you're just gonna stay the way you are, the way, the standard of living that your parents were, that your grandparents were, sure, it may be safe, but it's also a bit sad that you haven't progressed. It's like you're kind of wasting it away, in my opinion. In my opinion. But there's nothing wrong with that, In other people's opinion, they may say that, it is fine. It's fine if you want to. They may say that, it gives you security. It gives you, it allows you to be safe. You don't have to take much risk, and you still can live a happy life. You go to work, right? And if you go to work every day, you go to work, get the money, you gotta raise a happy family. Use your vacation time to have fun. It's very safe and so-called normal lifestyle, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. And I realized that, but I still have something to say. But I still have something to say, right? Singapore is, if you're born here, tries to force you into this into a role of into this Singapore corporation, almost Singapore company, this company called Singapore, right? No matter what, they want to keep you safe. It feels like it's like having your mom or dad watch over. It's like having a nanny watching over you, right? Like all their intentions are good, that, because they want their citizen, they want the person they're taking care of to be normal, and that's it. They try to keep them away from harm as much as possible. But you have to keep in mind that everything that you do comes with a risk, right? But and the more risky stuff, like starting a business, that kind of stuff, right? Many times the higher the risk, the higher the reward. But because the higher the risk, the higher the reward, the people who want to chase big rewards have to take greater risks. But because this country wants to keep you so safe, so secure in its little hole, right? In its arms, trying to protect you, they limit a lot of the risk that you can take. And that often frustrates people who want to. That often frustrates people who, that often restricts people who want to take greater risks to get the greater reward. It is quite annoying that this system in place here drives everyone to be mediocre or below. It's very easy to be mediocre here. It's also very easy to be under, to be below average. In fact, you see a lot more below average people and average people than people who are successful. You know why? Because we have a culture of not taking any risk. We have a culture of trying to suppress anyone who tries to reach out, right? Okay, this is a theory, but a lot of people who can't see their future because they're restricted so much, they tend to regress into a below average state. And the people who follow the system diligently, working for the government, working by the government, they are rewarded with mediocrity, right? They are rewarded with mediocrity, and that's mostly what they're gonna get. And most of them, they're happy with it. Every country has their own systems, but I just don't like this one very much. But it's fine. At least it's not that bad. I mean, I've had people say to me that the grass is always greener on the other side. I guess maybe, but you have to also look at the culture differences here. The culture differences, like which culture do you really prefer? Which culture do you think would suit you best? Would suit your personality, your individuality best, right? Your suit your individual best. So it's a bit of a dilemma. Is Singapore good or is Singapore bad? It's kind of neither, to be honest. But yeah, that's not really a point here. It's just kind of talking about it. That's it. Bye.